And we're back with the Agave Wine.
Now, we started this, it's 15 days ago, so 10/13 to 10/28, and this is 3 pounds agave nectar, Yorkshire tea, Premier Classique yeast, 1.5 grams of Fermented O, and a 1.094 or 1.096, really, because I watched the footage again and it was 1.096 original gravity. So what we're going to do is just take a reading on it. The bubbles have slowed down considerably. That doesn't mean it's done. It doesn't mean anything other than the bubbles have slowed down considerably. When you get out Mega Made, put it in there and pull out a sample. It's very gassy. I'm going to put this into graduated cylinder and not make too much of a mess. See all that foam, right? It's going to make getting a reading a little bit more difficult.
Now, some people may be concerned by that foam, thinking that we are oxygenating it. And basically what is happening is all the gas that was trapped in solution is being released due to this movement. So that's really what the issue is.
Our hydrometer is floating. Most of the bubbles have subsided. And let's see. Sitting at 1.040. Guess what that tells me? This is not done, and that's okay. It's only been about 15 days, so I'm just gonna pour my sample back in very carefully. There's so much gas in here, not really gonna be a problem oxygenating, I don't think. And everything was sanitized, so we're all good. Then, airlock, back on.
Now we're going to give us the patented swirl, and that's going to force out any oxygen that got trapped in there, get us our CO2 blanket again. But first, Brian's going to take a note of the gravity reading.
So my note says 10/28/21, gravity 1.040. That's it.
Now when you do a swirl at this point, you want to take particular caution because you have sanitizer liquid in your airlock and things could go awry.
You're seeing this, right? Any worry of oxygenation should be put to rest because any extra air that got in there from anything that we just did is totally being pushed out, okay? The sheer pressure of it would push it out. However, the CO2 is heavier than air. So even with a mixture and everything, it's pushing all that right out. And this still has a ways to go. So we're gonna put it back into the fermentation station and we'll see you in another week. It's been 14 more days. We've given this a lot of time. This is going to be check number 3. When we last left it, it was at 1.034. Where is it today? Because this has now been going for 4 weeks. So it's not even all that old, really. 4 weeks isn't tremendously long, but that's like a whole pile of foam in there now. We have a lot of foamage. Makes it difficult to get the reading. So I'll go the backwards way, read it from underneath, looking up, instead of top looking down. It'll give me a close enough reading. 10/34, 1.034. This is not going any further. Okay, what does that mean? Technically, this has stalled. Now, we added tea, we added Fermented O. There's really no reason why this should have stalled. I'm just not gonna worry about it. We can always pasteurize this after bottling, not a worry. We know it tasted pretty good when we did the tasting. 1.034 is like dessert wine kind of thing, but hey, you know what? It's all right. We will go with that for today. So what that means is we're going to rack this. That just means from moving it from this container to another container, getting it off the lease that you can see on the bottom here. Okay, so now that the foam subsided a little bit more, I'm able to see it. It's actually 1.032. The fact that it's been 4 weeks, 2 weeks since it went down 2 points, I'm gonna call this done. Still very safe for racking. We're gonna do that right now.
Also, if you're at a state in your process where it's inappropriate for you to take a tasting, you could simply pour that sample into your glass for tasting.
Or just right in your mouth, however you want to do it. It's all good. We have videos on this, so we're just going to, we are done racking. And there you go. And all I'm gonna do is mark on here that it was 1.032 gravity, and that's gonna be calling it done, and we did our first rack. So at this point, I can actually figure out about how much alcohol this will be.
But first, what is missing on this container?
While she got the airlock and bung, I figured out the ABV. It's gonna be a little on the low side, only like 8.3%, which I'm actually okay with. I mean, it's gonna have some alcohol to it, but it won't be overly strong.
I didn't have the magic touch this time. It's not sitting very well. I might have the wrong diameter bung.
Yeah, it's probably not the right kind of bung for this. They're always a little bit crazy, but it's okay. We'll stick a rubber band on there or something. But anyway, this is going to go sit for another week or two. We want this to clear out a bit more. Then we'll be back for bottling.
So it's been 2.5 weeks.
And we were hoping this would clear a bit more. It hasn't. Could I cold crash it to clear it a bit? Yeah, sure, that might work. But we're not going to. I just don't really have the space for it, so we're not going to do that. We are, however, going to rack it to a pitcher so that we know about how much we have, so that when we bottle it, we know how many bottles we need.
Also, we know we need to rack it that final time because there is a significant amount of sediment. So particulates did come out of suspension, so yay team. Before we bottle it, we want to give it a taste to see if we need to make any adjustments.
Interestingly enough, that's more clear than I thought it was. And I poured probably too much.
Oh no.
It smells green.
But do you know why it smells young?
Because it is.
Because it's young.
Yeah, this is actually only like 6 weeks or 7 weeks old. On the taste, though, it's really interesting.
It has, it has a really nice sweetness to it. It's unexpectedly sweet, but there's that little bit of sharp acidic note in there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. The acidity is good. The mouthfeel is really nice. Sweetness is good.
Yeah.
This is surprisingly good. I'm actually like really happy with this. Do you want to finish this?
I will finish. I will finish this because today is the first day of my birthday month. Thank you very much.
Another reason why we like to use this pitcher when we rack, aside from just the raised letters and the cool spout, is because it has metric and US measurements on it. So like at a glance, I can see that this is 120 ounces, which is also about 3.5 liters. So we have a 1 liter bottle and 3 750 ml bottles. That's going to be just about right. Maybe there'll be enough for Derica to have another sample for her birthday month. And we're just going to get to bottling. To bottle, we always use a bottling wand on the end of our auto siphon. If you're unsure about racking or bottling, we have videos just for that. There'll be a card up here and a link in the description of this video on videos just for racking and bottling. So there we have it. It's bottled. It's actually clearer than we thought. When you look in the fermenter, it didn't look very clear, but this has just a slight haze to it. Came out at about 8.4% ABV, which is a little bit on the low side.
And now to the good part.
The tasting. First off, I mean, you know, it tastes good. I'll give you that right now. It's moderately clear. It's not perfectly clear, but like I can still see my finger through it. So it's got a clarity to it. On the smell, though, it still smells young. It smells green, which is really weird.
Flavor-wise, I'm getting some really interesting things, again, texturally, because you all know, watching any tastings that I'm in, I'm always about the texture. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. But I'm getting almost an effervescence sensation to this.
But it's not gassy.
But it's not gassy.
We checked it.
We did check that. We stirred it up to see if we could add a degassing demo for you.
And we didn't need to.
There's no gas. So I'm thinking it's just the sensation of all the different chemicals in there, plus the alcohol, giving my tongue a little tingle, tingle. And I'm okay with that because it's actually very pleasant.
Okay. I tried looking for what you're talking about. I'm not getting that, but I'm not saying that you're not experiencing it because that's just the way this works. What I get, though, is almost a honey sweetness. It's not honey, but it almost tastes like honey. But it's got some extra flavors in there that I can't even describe. They're not things that I have experience with.
Okay, so when he was talking about that and I was trying to see what he was seeing, I was getting a combination of honey, sugar, and then that made my brain go to nectar. So, if you have ever
nectar?
Sucked honeysuckle, that is what my brain is correlating this with.
It's got a nice, like, going in, the opening is really, really wonderful. Good sweetness. And then there's a little bit of a tannic property that comes through. Really balances out that sweetness nicely. Then there's those extra flavors that I can't describe coming in. And then on the finish, it's nice and long, a little bit of sweetness. And on the exhale, it's still just really, really nice.
Out of all the things that we've brewed prior to this, my brain is connecting this for some reason to the Kilyu, the Mojito Kilyu.
Okay.
Sensation-wise. Not flavor-wise, but sensation-wise.
All right.
Which makes me happy because I really liked the Mojito Kill You.
Yes, she did. I am getting the odd bitter note that I get in mead. That's part of the flavors that are coming through in the middle to back end for me. That's what's making me think mead, even though this is not mead. This is just agave nectar made into a wine.
If I search for the bitter note, I can go.
It's not super strong, but it is.
It's a bitter note.
Yeah, it's not super strong, but I do taste it.
I'm not getting the same bitter note that I can find in fermented honey. So
it's a little lighter than a mead would be. I mean, obviously it's 8.4% alcohol. It finished at 1.032 gravity, so it's on the sweet side. It does not taste as sweet as that number would suggest. And I think it's because it's got a little bit of an astringency and some tannic properties that really take that down. And that's the thing. A lot of people ask all the time, what gravity should I be at to make it sweet? Well, first, your taste of sweet, my taste of sweet are different things. And second, it varies. Every brew is so different. So, I mean, general rule of thumb, up to like 1.000 is dry, 1.010 to 1.015 is considered semi-sweet, and then above that is considered sweet. That's a very general rule of thumb. So this would be very sweet, even dessert, but I don't think it's quite dessert to me.
It's yummy, so I don't really care what the number says.
This tastes wonderful, but it's time to put a number on this.
Put a number on it.
I have a number. Do you have a number? Are you ready? Gotta swallow first.
Because that'd be a neat trick to give my number before swallowing.
Yeah. And the camera's a little further away, so that's okay. You know, it might not be that bad.
It's not the splash zone.
Yeah. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
8.5.
Oh. I was actually thinking 9, and I went with 8.5 at the last second, just because it's really good.
It is really good.
But I feel like it needs a little more alcohol.
I could have given it a 9 without much convincing.
I think it needs more alcohol, though. This is something we might revisit another time, but I actually really like this. This came out wonderful, and in a year, I want to see what this does. And in the meantime, I'm going to drink what we have now because it's really, really nice. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
All right, so it's been about a week, and when last we left this is... blah, 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 blah. Yeah. All right, so it's been about a week. When last we left this, it was at 1.040 gravity. Where is it now?
Nobody knows.